Welcome to my top 5 recommended mods for Tevo Black Widow video. In this video I'm going to be discussing my top 5 recommendations for modding your Tevo Black Widow 3D printer. I've chosen the mods that I think are the most necessary ones and that improve your print quality or the safety of your printer the most, while also trying to keep the cost of these mods as low as possible. I've listed the order they're listed is the most that I recommend to the least that I recommend, but all 5 of them are really important. I recommend you do all of them. So let's begin. Number 1 is getting a new power supply. The stock Tevo power supply, well, they claim to improve it over time, it still tends to explode, and you don't want a fire hazard that you tend to leave alone when it's printing. So if you don't want to set your house on fire, you should probably replace your power supply. The one on the left is just an example of an exploding part. It's just a resistor. There are also a lot of examples of the PTCs on the power supply exploding, etc. So you probably shouldn't use the stock power supply unless you will monitor the 3D printer 24/7. The most common replacement power supply is a Meanwell SE-600-24 power supply. It's a relatively cheap but name brand power supply, so you can definitely trust that. I personally switched mine to a Meanwell PSP 624 power supply, which has a few additional features and is overall a bit nicer, but you don't need that high end of a power supply. This mod will probably cost you around $70. Number 2, a glass pad. A glass pad will definitely improve your print quality and also provide a better, even more surface, and it also will reduce the risk of the bed sagging a bit over time as it's aluminium and at a high quality. So you should definitely get a glass pad. You definitely don't need anything fancy like a borosilicate glass or anything like that. You can just go with anything that's cheap. I personally went with 3mm thick regular glass. It cost me about $1.50. And if you are from the US or anywhere a bit more expensive than my country, it will probably cost you less than $5. So it's really cheap and really useful. Number 3, a Raspberry Pi running Octoprint. Raspberry Pi's the Octoprint software allows you to control your 3D printer really well. It has a bunch of useful features like monitoring your temperatures, moving the printer, or if you add some plugins, you can turn the power supply on or off using the plugins. You can add a filament sensor, a camera to monitor your printer. It's really useful and it's nearly cheap other than the cost of the Raspberry Pi. So it's definitely something that I recommend you get. And moving on, there's the TMC 2100 silent Stepsticks. These Stepsticks have 2 advantages over the stock Allegro Stepsticks that are included. One is that they're more silent, and 2, they improve the print quality by reducing what's called salmon skin effect. I don't have a picture on this slide, but it basically is a bunch of lines on your 3D print. It looks a bit wavy. It gets rid of that as well. If you are willing to go with clone versions of these will cost you about $35, and the genuine ones will probably cost you about $50, but you will have to pay for shipping there, which tends to be expensive. If you go with the Chinese route, you can watch my video about those. To use these properly, you will need to mod this. You'll need to be able to do some soldering, but it's nothing complicated, and it improves your print quality very significantly while reducing the noise, so definitely do this as well. And lastly, adding a layer fan. This is one of the most important mods out there as well, and it's very cheap. You can probably find 24-volt fans on sites like AliExpress for, I don't know, $2-3. They're really cheap, and you'll also have to print the layer fan mounting as well, but that's just the cost of plastic. It's also nothing, but it will allow you to print more complex prints and also cool it down. This is very useful when printing with PLA, for example. if you have overhangs or anything like that. Cooling that will improve your print quality very significantly, and it's, as I mentioned, nearly free other than the cost of the fans. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please leave a like, and thanks for watching.